is this lazy Susan. I'm lazy, you're lazy, Susan is lazy. A lot of people, when I say cook once, eat twice, they have the opposite thing going on. They're like, eat once, cook 3 times. Because they're cooking 3 different meals for 3 different people as though they are like the corner restaurant. I'm like, hello, you're not a restaurant. You are a person who has a very busy life. And so you want to be able to find ways to satisfy people in your family. And one of the best things is the lazy Susan, because then you can prepare foods and then family members can add flavorings to the food and personalize that food. Some people want to put on more salt, some people will put on more sweetener. Whatever it is that they like, they can add that to the food and they feel like they're part of the cooking process. So on here, I found a lot of people enjoy putting, like children, but also adults, putting peanut butter or nut butter, tahini onto the food. Other people will enjoy more sophisticated flavors, different high-quality oils. Sometimes men want to have, or women want to have more salt on their food. So they can do that on their own and makes the cook's job a lot less complicated. You want to keep looking for ways to reduce your workload. Possibly the greatest gift you can give your children is the curiosity to cook for themselves. So you don't have to think in your head, I'm making them, forcing them to cook with me. You can think, I'm spending so much money on their clothes, I'm going to get them a car, I'm going to get them university education. But potentially, the greatest gift I can give them is to have a love for cooking and participation with food. So it shifts it from being a burden for them to being something that you're really giving them the greatest gift, which will improve their health for the rest of their life. But it's okay, sometimes you just want to get people to have their servings of vegetables throughout the day so they can have bottled juices. And that's okay too. Then sometimes you can have your vegetables through a blender. People often don't have enough soup, and soup is such a warm comfort food. And people feel like, well, I don't have time to prepare the whole soup. So the quick, the kale version of soup is to get something like here, in this case, it's canned beets, and you can just put it in to the blender. And you can take some hot water and pour that into the blender. How many seconds is this taking me? And you're done. You pour out the, I have to be careful with this, but you pour it out, and can you see this on the camera? Right, and they're going to get this beautiful beet-colored soup, and you can add herbs into it or spices. And really, it took you 15 seconds. But people, your family, or for you, you're getting this soothing comfort food, which is very missing in diet, especially in the winter time. You can also add this like coconut milk to it. I'm just going to add a bit more. Can you see that? It has like a pinkish color to it. And so you can serve, I have 2 kinds of soup today. If you have less than 15 seconds, you can get soup like this. Oh, whoops, wrong. Sorry. Sometimes you can get soup in a Tetra Pak, and that takes 5 seconds. But these kind of ideas is kind of obvious, but if you're working with clients, for a lot of people, for me, maybe for you, going into a health food store for the first time felt like I was joining some kind of a cult. I was so used to going into the supermarket where everyone is, what do you want? I'm grumpy. Can't you see I'm having a bad day? And then when I went to the health food store, people were like, hey. The first time I was there, I was like, this is not for me. And a lot of people will feel intimidated by that whole interaction, especially, if it's almost like joining a different political party. Then many people enjoy in the morning to have a fruit juice smoothie. Anyone does that? And people like it. They get a lot of energy from it. It's very simple to do. I encourage people to do it, but I also say to people, just because a little of something is good for you doesn't mean that a lot is better. So, for example, when I was talking about using the juicer, my own body would not use the juicer because it felt like it was too much. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes we're not. Many people I found make the smoothie in the morning and get a lot of energy from it, but they don't realize that they have put in a lot of fruit and they're getting a really strong sugar high. And so you want to find ways to balance that out, and maybe a small size serving is better than a large size serving, especially if you have a small body. One of the things I notice is people who are smaller in stature, the whole thing about a serving size? Well, if your body is half the size of other people's body, then your serving size is half of what other people's serving size is. So so you can just put this on, put in some. You can use fresh fruit or just have it. What I do is I have it in the freezer, and I'll just take a bit of each of these. In this case, it's peaches, some blueberries. Some people enjoy adding some kind of, in this case, almond milk to it, or some sweetener to it. Other people enjoy adding superfoods, like here I have maca. It's very energizing food. Or people put in things like protein powders or spirulina. You just put everything in there and you're good for the day. Throughout the curriculum, I like to point out to you that just because something is working for you doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. And a lot of people in this room have tried it, and this exact same thing that you swear by and have every day and feel like this is God's gift to you, for other people, it's not going to work. And to have a awareness and sensitivity to understand that for other people. All right, next I want to move away from vegetables and talk about cooking with protein. There's a lot of people who are vegetarian who think everyone should be vegetarian. I know, I was one of them. And then over time I saw that my body required different kind of balance, and that other people who actually trusted me and would follow my recommendations were not doing well. So I'm going to talk a bit about cooking with protein. There's a lot of different kinds of protein. Bodies need protein to grow, to be strong, to have healthy skin and hair. People who are vegetarian often will, oops, I forgot, toaster oven. Okay, simple, right? You just cut up the vegetables, put them in the toaster oven as another way of preparing your foods. When I did consultations, I used to have gear in the office and just show people and have them see it from beginning to end. Makes it a lot more likely that they'll do it than if I just give them a recipe or tell them how to do it at home. So if you're doing 6-month programs, working in an office, say even if you're working in a chiropractor's office, which just use that as an example. You may feel like you should be sitting in the office and just talking with people like a doctor does and giving them notes and things like that. But if you run people through a program, you can each week bring in one of these pieces of equipment and just really demonstrate to people hands-on, and especially if you can get them to taste it, it makes that body-mind connection, and they'll be more likely to follow through with it. A lot of people who don't eat animal food use soy to be able to have their protein intake. And there's good things about soy and not so good things about soy. It all started because people noticed that in Japan, Japanese people lived longer, were healthier, and they took this idea that they eat a lot of soy, and then America went crazy over soy. And they put soy in everything, and the health food industry sold soy as a miracle food. The only problem with that is that soy is one of the foods people are most allergic to. And also people have increasingly thyroid issues, and soy consumption conflicts with the thyroid production. So, and then you have people who are really proud they gave up milk and they switched to soy milk. But soy milk is not really a natural food. You know, it takes a lot to get a bean to taste like milk. You've tasted beans? Yes? They don't taste like milk? So to move that over, it's sold in a natural food store. And a lot of things sold in a natural food store that are not natural. So you want to be aware of that process. But within soy, people take tofu and make foods out of that. My favorite would be, I should show you this. This is my favorite tofu recipe. This tofu scramble. So I would take the tofu, and then I would do like this. And then I would put in an egg, or no egg, put in vegetables, and do just like scrambled eggs. But I couldn't get this consistency by cutting it with a knife. I had to do it with my hands. You get your kids to do this, they love it. Then people, tempeh is also a soy product, which is fermented. But today, mostly people are aware, people who are aware have soy in the form of edamame. It's green, it's young, it's easy to digest. You know what edamame is? The greens you get in the Japanese restaurant. Next, I want to go into animal foods. So there's all kinds of eggs that are available. And When I switched over from being vegan, having one egg was a lot because I got so sensitive, but I felt like I needed to have more animal food in my body. The school was growing. I was a laid-back person, and I felt like I needed to have more animal food in my diet. But I had no tolerance for it because I was so sensitive to animal food. How many of you have this similar kind of experience? So having one egg was a lot. So first thing I did was make sure I had high quality eggs, because you can get eggs for, $2 a dozen, maybe $2.50, but then you can get eggs for $6, $7 a dozen. So I would, even though at that time I didn't have much budget, I would spend more, get the best quality eggs possible. Today you have organic eggs, you have special eggs that have omega in it, and then you also have eggs that are cage-free, and you just want to be able to, I would say if you can afford it, to always get the best eggs possible. They're inexpensive, easy to prepare, and good food. For some people it's a really good thing. For other people it's really a bad thing. And we're going to talk later on in the program about all the issues with eating animal food and animal rights and factory farming. I'm not saying you should do this or not do this. I'm just trying to educate you and inform you about all the different pieces of the puzzle. Sometimes people are intimidated by cooking animal foods. This is just a piece of fish. It's really simple. You take the fish, you rinse the fish, you put the fish in the frying pan, and you're done. Put a bit of oil there, put some flavorings. If I don't, I put just a bit of salt in it, and it cooks a bit, 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other side. A lot of people think that cooking animal food is complicated. But to me, I think it's one of the simplest things. There's no chopping, there's no slicing, no dicing. I just take it, put it in the pan, 5 minutes on this side, 5 minutes, and it's done. How many of you are somewhat intimidated about cooking fish or animal food at home? Will you try it now? And then you have this famous food, which is one of the most controversial foods in our curriculum, which is red meat. And a lot of people have strong feelings and ideas about that red meat is bad for you, and or that it's expensive, or they don't want to cook it at home, and it's the same as fish. You just 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other, maybe 10 minutes. And all you need is really a palm-sized portion. Whenever I'm in restaurants, I will ask whoever I'm with to split if I'm having animal food, to split the portion with me, because it's way more than my body needs. And when I'm out shopping, I have tried to tell people I want a small piece, and they don't get it. So I'm like, I need for children's size. And then I get that. Basically, your body can use palm-size portion, and that's going to be plenty. Especially if you have cravings for sugar and sweets, but any kind of cravings, you can experiment with having small amounts of animal food to see if that will create some kind of a balance in your body to reduce the cravings. Make more time to practice cooking in the kitchen. See what that's like. Definitely try the kale, the onion, whatever here seems interesting for you. And if you have members of your family, see if there are ways that you can lure them into helping you. If cooking isn't in the cards and they're not going to be doing that, it's just like, no way, then go the other route. Say, I'm in medical school, you're supporting me with this. I really want to be successful. I now realize that I had an already busy life before I came to the school, so I'd like to get your help with this. Maybe you can do some of the shopping or some of the cleanup afterwards. And it's fun experimenting with different ways. It's like the cooking. Maybe the first time didn't work, you try a different way. If you do the cooking, we'll go out to party afterwards. I will be in a better mood and you will then be very happy. Or I will make you happy. The main thing to understand is that our entire blood quality is altered by the food that we eat. And taking the time to be able to respect that process and make food that gives us the most energy possible is an important part of being healthy.